Recent over coincidence.
Yep.
There we go. Okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. Now that everyone's got the alarm bell that went off, we know we're all here. At this point, there are flags in the back of the auditorium and in the front. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Ms. Parker, would you take the roll, please?
Atchison.
Here.
Bird. Here. DeCamera. DeMott.
Here.
Pinter.
Here.
Seitz.
Here.
Scully. Here.
The council, you have item 3A in front of you. This is the minutes of the April 9th meeting. Ms. Pinter.
Yes, sir. I move to the City Council approve the minutes of the meeting of April 9th, 2018 as presented.
Is there a second? Ms. Scully?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. To start our evening, Mr. DeMott, would you give us, please, the proclamation of Small Business Week?
I have the representatives from the two chambers that came for tonight come up. Or is there three? There's three here, so. Back here so the mic picks you up. How are you? Good. Evening. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves real quick and who you're here with.
Juliette Abdel, Westminster Chamber of Commerce.
Greg Moss with the Metro North Chamber of Commerce.
So I know that these folks are deeply involved with all the different businesses in our city and across the region, so it's very great to have you here tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and hand these to you. Then I'll go ahead and read one of them. So whereas Westminster's economy is driven by small businesses who think big, take risks, and work hard, and whereas from the storefront shops to the high-tech startups that keep Westminster on the cutting edge, small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And whereas small business owners have energy and a passion for what they do, and whereas when we support small business, jobs are created, and Westminster preserves our culture, and whereas 94% of our business and small businesses who create jobs are and spur economic growth, and whereas National Small Business Week has been recognized every year since 1963 to highlight the program services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Business Administration and other government agencies, and whereas small business is a big business and the city's departments of economic development, the city two thriving chambers, and local small business development. This is a lot of whereas in business and, excuse me, development center take an active role in advocacy, community development, and business development in Westminster. And whereas the City of Westminster supports and joins in its national effort to help small businesses do what they do best, grow their business, create jobs, and ensure that our communities remain a vibrant tomorrow as they are today. Now, therefore, I, Herb Atchison, Mayor of the City of Westminster, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the week of April 29th through May 5th as Small Business Week. So, I appreciate you guys being here because this is obviously very important. Is there anything you want to share with everybody about what's going on with you guys in small business in the city?
Of course. First off, I wanted to thank the City Administration Economic Development Office and our City Council for recognizing this National Small Business Week, but specifically partnering with us on a lot of our Westminster Chamber Small Business Week activities. So be on the lookout for our kickoff events and then workshops, and partnering with our SBDC and our Metro North Chamber that's here in the community. Small business is the lifeblood to any community, and when you recognize that and you see that it makes us unique, that's when you can capitalize on the growth that's here. So we're proud to champion our small businesses in Westminster and to also champion the city as the place to live, work, and do business across the state of Colorado.
Well, thank you, Julia. This is a really cool place. And thanks to the leadership, it really is. And thanks to the leadership of the city, to all of you in the audience, economic development, as Juliet so well said, the lifeblood of any community is small business. It's the engine of our economy, and we could not have a great community without the people who put it on the line every day. So we're just honored to be able to support them. We appreciate our partnerships with the community, with the Westminster Chamber, with the city, economic development. We have some really fun things planned for next week. We will kick it off. Juliet and I think you're going to join me early on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're going to stick with me. Trivia night? We're gonna,
I'm not doing trivia night. But we are looking forward to kicking this off on Monday morning with coffee, and then we will have lots of workshops and call-in segments and empowering people to take control of their work and their business. And so we're just very grateful for it. So thanks for this.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Thank you for all you do for the businesses in our community. So I think she wants a picture of us real quick.
Okay, I'm going to take two. I am as well. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. I think all right.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Bird, Jefferson Center for Mental Health, please.
Nice to meet you. So, Melissa, before I start with some background, would you like to say a few words about the work that your organization does? And just so our audience knows, we'll be talking about the proclamation for the Jefferson Center for Mental Health 60th anniversary.
Yes. I am Melissa Strophus, and I work in the marketing department for Jefferson Center. And we are the community mental health center that serves Jefferson, Gilpin, and Clear Creek counties. And we also have recently become also a substance use provider and have recently opened our crisis and recovery center, which offers crisis services and withdrawal management and detox services all within the same building.
Well, before I read the proclamation, I would just like to thank you on behalf of the City of Westminster for all of the great work that your organization does. You know, too often we have an easy time recognizing harm and illness when we see it and there's a physical manifestation of it, but not enough do we recognize what's going on within someone's heart and mind. And I'm so grateful for the work that you do, talking about that, helping to educate the public, and in addition, helping those patients who so desperately need your services. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So with that, I will read the proclamation. Whereas Jefferson Center is celebrating 60 years of service to the communities of Jefferson, Clear Creek, and Gilpin counties, whereas Jefferson Center's mission is to inspire hope, improve lives, and strengthen community by providing mental health, substance abuse, and related solutions for individuals and families, and whereas Jefferson Center is a nonprofit community-focused mental health care and substance use services provider. They offer hope and support to individuals and families who are struggling with mental health issues and substance use disorders. And whereas Jefferson Center staffs are experts in treating people with serious mental illness and substance abuse disorders and offer specialized programs for veterans, children, and families, victims of trauma, and seniors. And whereas Jefferson Center is a cornerstone in our community and collaborates closely with other nonprofits, community agencies, healthcare providers, the City of Westminster, and law enforcement to improve the lives of our citizens. And whereas Jefferson Center is an essential first responder in our community, providing critical support in the event of traumatic community disasters and is an essential resource for healing individual and community trauma. And now, therefore, I, Herb Atchison, Mayor of the City of Westminster, on behalf of the entire City Council and staff, do hereby recognize Jefferson Center's 60th anniversary and commend Jefferson Center for the significant impact the organization has made and continues to make in Westminster. Signed this 23rd day of April, 2018. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and this is for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
sorry, that didn't count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Ms. Scully, if you would, please.
Good evening. I have the privilege tonight of doing the proclamation for the National Day of Prayer, Meditation, and Spiritual Reflection. And if I could have, I know Richard, you're one of our representatives, and anyone else who would like to join us up here tonight as we dedicate this proclamation. Oh, I get a nice picture. And I'm going to have each one of you introduce yourself before I go through the summary. So let's start at the far end.
My name is Joseph Kramer. I'm a member of the Baha'i Faith, the community here in Westminster.
Cheryl Chamberlain, I'm also a member of the community here in Westminster.
Jennifer Stevenson, member of the Baha'i community of Westminster.
Grady Newis, I attend Victory Church here in Westminster.
Julie Redson Smith, also a member of the Baha'i community of Westminster and serve on the local spiritual assembly.
I'm Joyce Booz, and I ditto that.
Rachel Jensen, also the same.
Rich Chamberlain, member of the Baha'i Faith and elected member of the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Westminster.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. The National Day of Prayer was first created in 1952 by a joint resolution of the United States Congress. It is an annual observance held on the first Thursday of May. As a welcoming city, Westminster recognizes the diverse range of beliefs in our community, which encompasses many religions, faiths, and individual spiritual identities. Various representatives from our area, congregations, parishes, temples, religious centers, and spiritual groups were invited to attend the reading of this proclamation to represent unity, harmony, and support in our community and exemplify our ongoing commitment to being inclusive and welcoming to all. All right, so this is what it looks like, and I'm going to read it. Whereas a National Day of Prayer was first proclaimed by the Continental Congress in 1775, and the current United States Congress has called on our citizens to recognize an annual National Day of Prayer, and whereas the City Council recognizes that the City of Westminster is a community of many faiths and individual spiritual identities, and wishes to be inclusive of the diverse range of beliefs in our community, now, therefore, I, Herb Atchison, Mayor of the City of Westminster, on behalf of the entire City Council and staff, do hereby proclaim Thursday, May 3rd, 2018, as a citywide day of prayer, meditation, and spiritual reflection. Dated this 23rd day of April, 2018, Herb Atchison, Mayor. So, thank you so much for coming and celebrating with us today. We'll give this to you. And I'd like to shake everyone's hand. Thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing this with us. Okay, and we're going to get really close because Jody's going to take our picture. Are we close enough? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great.
All right, Ms. Penner, let's talk about Water Week.
Hello. So who's here to talk about water? Come on down. Come on.
Christine and the gang.
Here's our water one. Yeah, here we go. Okay. I have a copy, so I'm going to give this to you guys.
Eric, hold on.
Eric. All right.
Thanks.
Hi, Max.
Eric is our spokesman.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, as the designated spokesman,
Yes.
can you please introduce your team?
This is Max. Rob. And
Chris Gray.
Yes, sorry. It's Sarah Borges.
They have betrayed you, Eric.
Yes, they have. I know you put me on the spot. Sorry.
All right. And then could you introduce yourself and why you guys are here to represent the city's interest around water?
Eric Scott, Water Quality Lab Analyst with the city, and we're here to recognize Drinking Water Week. And it's time to recognize the work that goes into monitoring the source water that comes into the city, and then the water plant, the work that goes into at the water plants, and then what goes into the monitoring of the water that goes to the houses. It's a National Drinking Water Week, and the proclamation is going to be up at the College Hill Library, and there's a display that will be up there with some giveaways for the kiddos, and that'll be up all month long.
I love it. All right. Yeah. So Water Week is really important for all. We all take water for granted. There are some cities in this country that still don't have clean water, and I think that it's so important that we in Westminster have spent so many years, so many decades, making water a priority. I'm going to embarrass, though I know she can't be embarrassed, Linda Graybeal in the back, because I'm going to read a little bit from our City of Westminster's History tab, but if I get this wrong, she'll correct me. And then also, I would encourage you guys all to go talk to her about the history of the City of Westminster and water, because really water is foundational to what formulated our city, and it's one of the reasons we came together as a town in the beginning. So prior to 1955, I don't know if you guys know this, but the City of Westminster mostly got its water through wells. And we decided as a city that we were going to try to use what was called at that time in the 1950s the Kershaw Ditch. That went along in a bumpy path until what ended up being called in 1962, the long hot summer of 1962, and extreme weather conditions during the summer forced the city to begin using safe but stinky Kershaw ditch water in order to keep up with demand. And finally, on a hot afternoon in late summer, a group of, it says housewives, I don't know how I feel about that, but a group of strong women gathered for what is still known as the Mothers' March on City Hall. Armed with signs, posters, the women paraded around City Hall for television cameras and reporters from the Metro Daily newspapers demanding safe water for their children. And that began a community-wide conversation about what is so important about safe water for our families, for ourselves, and for our future. And the conversations that were heated at that time, and this is where you can go approach Linda from the Historical Society afterwards, they have great pictures of the marching women in the History Center to take a look at what happened to really be part of those critical conversations that led to us purchasing Stanley Lake and the reservoirs that we have and the water rights that we do have that go straight up Clear Creek Canyon. So whenever you turn on that tap in Westminster and remark about how clean and clear and fresh our water is, know that there is decades of thought and work and energy and, let's not put a number on it, lots of money invested in making sure that your water is safe, both from a public health perspective and also from an enjoyability perspective. So our official proclamation reads, whereas water is one of our most valuable natural resources, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, and whereas any measure of successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. And whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now, therefore, I, Herb Atchison, Mayor of the City of Westminster, Colorado, on behalf of the entire City Council and staff, do hereby proclaim the week of May 6th through 12th, 2018 as Drinking Water Week in the City of Westminster, and ask all citizens to join in extending our appreciation to our Public Works and Utilities Department and employees, whose vision, expertise, and dedication provide residents with the high-quality drinking water we enjoy. Signed this 23rd day of April 2018. Thank you very much.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Ms. Seitz, if you would talk about Community Pride Day, please.
just you, or is Rod joining us today?
Is Rod joining us today?
No, okay.
We had to ask.
So I am absolutely delighted to make the proclamation for Community Pride Day today. Community Pride Day was established over 30 years ago in recognition of the Keep America Beautiful anti-litter campaign. And this popular event started out with just a few hundred people, and now last year we had 1,200 volunteers sign up. In no small part because it is such a well-organized, well-run campaign, and it really gives our residents a call to action. We know all of our residents value our open spaces, our green spaces, our parks. This asks them to take responsibility for them and come and clean it up. I would love if Patty could talk a little bit more about what's in store, or would you rather I do that?
Oh, I can do that.
And how people can sign up if they'd like to participate.
Right. Kristen May is the coordinator of Community Pride Day, and she's done a wonderful job of making this another great event this year. A lot of great door prizes, and she's very organized in assigning people their sites, and we will be having our free cookout for the volunteers at Westview Recreation Center this year. RE/MAX has kindly helped sponsor this event. We have over 1,000 people signed up already with 3 more weeks to go. So that means that 200 of you need to sign up. But really, seriously, we do need some more volunteers because we need some folks on our streets and our right-of-ways to get some of that trash out. When we get done with Community Pride Day, our city and Highland Hills Park and Recreation District are ready for the summer. We have a nice, clean city, and when people see that, they know that they're in a place where people care.
I will tell you, I've done it the last few years with my kids, and I think it's a great opportunity for them to feel that pride and that connectedness to their city. So again, 1 o'clock, after you're done cleaning up, cleanup starts up around 8 o'clock. Come to Westview Rec Center, have some hot dogs that'll be cooked by the local Rotary. There'll be live music, and we'll say thank you for helping make the city beautiful. I will read the proclamation now. Whereas the City of Westminster and Highland Hills Park and Recreation District have joined together to mobilize citizens to take action in their communities, and whereas the goal of Community Pride Day is to bring together youth, government, businesses, families, churches, neighborhoods, and community leaders to help clean up the city and Highland Hills Park and Recreation District and share pride in our community. And whereas Westminster and Highland Hills Park and Recreation District have organized a cleanup program with sponsors and donations from the community, and whereas the caring citizen volunteers of our communities are ready and willing to do their part to engage in cleanup activities and demonstrate their civic pride and individual responsibility, now, therefore, I, Herb Atchison, Mayor of the City of Westminster, Colorado, on behalf of the entire City Council and staff, do hereby proclaim May 12, 2018, Community Pride Day in the City of Westminster and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to recognize and support the efforts of the volunteers and citizens who take pride in keeping Westminster and Highland Hills Park and Recreation District clean places to live. Signed this 23rd day of April, 2018. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yes, I do.
Patty, you have room for any more of those in your office?
Yeah, I know. I do have quite the collection.
I thought you did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next item is the citizen communication. This is a period of time for up to 5 minutes that we let any citizen come forward. You should have signed up in the back, but if you have not already signed up, we'll take care of that in a few minutes. Time limit starts when the light goes green. You have 1 minute left when it turns yellow, and your time is up when it's red. This is for any item that is not scheduled for a public hearing, and since we have none scheduled tonight, that means the agenda is open. So I will start with Mr. Grady Norris.
Hello everybody, my name is Grady Newis. I live at 11272 West 102nd Drive. First off, I just wanted to thank the council for the community forum last week. It was one of the most transparent that I can remember being a citizen being invited to. So thank you very much for your time, and it was a great turnout by the community. Although this is not the reason I come to speak today. For most of those you in here today, or that are listening to this recording online, I bet you did not know that the prayer proclamation actually put forth the City Council was to acknowledge the National Day of Prayer on May 3rd as followed by our President and Governor. As written, there is a significant change to the title. Inclusivity in Westminster really boils down to this. How can our progressive City Council single out large groups of our community by making them feel bad for not including 100% of the population on any given project? We live in a city where our council puts the minority of those offended above the rights and religious freedoms of everyone. In Westminster, we can't even call it a Christmas lighting ceremony anymore. One council member said the term Christmas tree was too much about one religion, not all. So it has now changed to a holiday lighting ceremony. As a Christian, I celebrate Christmas, not holiday, and I absolutely respect the rights of those who do not celebrate Christmas. Thought that was bad? Our Westminster egg hunt is now called adult egg hunt because those same offended minority voices. According to Forbes, 80% of adult Americans celebrate Easter with the traditional form of an Easter egg hunt. What does this mean? It means the majority of Americans here in Westminster want to call it an Easter egg hunt, not an adult egg hunt. How about the people who don't like the name Easter egg hunt? How about they start their own egg hunt? Imagine not supporting an event you don't agree with. Wow, the concept of freedom and personal choice. Here are just a few more of the quotes from our City Council members last Monday during study session on the title of the Proclamation Day of Prayer. I'm less comfortable with that. Make more people feel like they're included. Broaden the tent to include all our residents. Broader vision. More can get behind. Or yet my favorite, meet them where they are at. In reference to those who believe in prayer having to capitulate to those who do not pray to hurt their feelings. Or even better yet, how about not everyone calls it prayer? I don't know how much more clear one can be. If you are praying, it is called prayer. If you are praying, it is not called reflection. It is also not called meditation. Nobody on this council has the right to tell any person of faith what they have to call prayer. Prayer is prayer, just like illegal means illegal. One city council cited part of the Establishment Clause that suited her argument. What this council member failed to mention that there is a second clause to the amendment that deals with religion. The Free Exercise of Religion Clause. For some reason, this clause always seems to be forgotten by those trying to ban these public religious activities. The purpose of this clause is to prevent the federal government from interfering with free exercise of religion by any individual, regardless if they are employed by a government agency or not, whether the activity takes place on public land or not. Freedom of religion has been turned around 180 degrees by our out-of-control federal government. The current meaning of the clause is freedom from religion. From the very beginning of this country, we as people have always been tolerant of other people's religious beliefs. Now, a small and very vocal group of intolerant people have made it very difficult for the majority of us to practice our traditional religious beliefs in public. The same council member said, "We always talk about doing this the Westie way." Is this the same Westie way when she compared the reflection of Pearl Harbor to intense spiritual prayer? In fact, is this the same Westie way that tried controlling my recycling output through a single hauler truck system without a vote of the citizens? Is this the same Westie way that forced their welcoming city policy, which specifically invites undocumented illegal immigrants into our community without a vote of the citizens? If you want to be inclusive, set up an extra day of meditation. If you want to be inclusive, set up another day for self-reflection. If Westminster wants to truly be inclusive, tell people what they can do to be inclusive. Don't tell people what they have to do to be inclusive. I have always respected the opinions of others, but the time their opinions start infringing on my own personal rights, expect me to stand up for myself. My words of advice for the community and council: please stop pandering to the niche, open-ended terms, inclusivity, sustainability, and common sense. And for the love of my God, please stop political correctness persecution against Christians here in Westminster. My name is Grady Newis. You can find out more about me at gradyforhouse.com. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Linda Grable.
name is Linda Graybeal. I live at 6504 West 95th Place in the Trentwood subdivision, or as I like to refer to it, Charles Semper's Farm. And I'm here representing the Westminster Historical Society. So Mayor Atchison, councilors, city staff, again, I come to you with heartfelt thanks for the way that you have supported our society in the city. Many people don't know we have a museum. And I want to tell you that you probably have not considered this, but the most inclusive group that every single citizen in Westminster belongs to is you're all gonna die. And, and that's what we're about in the Westminster Historical Society. We're here to make sure that dead people are not forgotten. No, I just had to kind of start out like that. What I'm noticing lately, this is my segue into it, is even though the weather was rather atrocious last Saturday, I drove up Bradburn, and those crabapple trees are ready to burst forth. I mean, it's amazing to me with the winds we had a week ago Tuesday that there's any blossoms left on those trees. And yet, here they're coming. They're coming. And if you will look here, the very first event that we're doing this week will give you a grandiose view of 10,000 square miles of these blossoms and the greenery and the green foothills. If you've never been to the top of the castle, the big red castle at 84th and Federal, you've got to come this Saturday. Each year, since it's a National Historic Building, we're required to open it at least once a year to the public, and AM 91 is opening it up. Now, AM 91 is a local Christian radio station. They just celebrated their 90th birthday. And so they're going to have a big to-do this Saturday. It's good for kids, too, because there's going to be lots of fun stuff for kids to do. We're bringing in the Visionaires that do the Living History program, and I'm pretty sure it's been okay, but we're going to have gunfire and cannon fire and a reenactment of the 1777 Princeton, New Jersey skirmish. But, oh yeah, I know we have. So it should be lots of fun. But the most exciting thing is bring your camera, your good cell phones, go to the top, and see this marvelous view. Then the following Saturday, we have Bang, 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 Saturdays in a row. And what we've done, we've looked at the city calendar and we've tried to time it in such a way that everybody can go to the big city events and still have time to come to our events. So this Saturday, the following Saturday in May, we are celebrating the Bowles House Museum 30th anniversary. Now the society is 62 years old, but the museum that was saved from demolition and burning practice is 30 years old, and we're going to have hopefully wonderful weather again this next weekend, and we're actually going to dig up Mahala Bowles, and she's going to talk to you about how it was like living here over 100 years ago. We'll have refreshments and face painting for the kids, or any kids of any age, okay? And so refreshments should be fun. The next Saturday is dear to my heart because of Vicki Bunsen. This was the house in Westminster she's really proud of. Did you know that we have a house that dates back to 1850 in the middle of green knolls? And the very foundation and the original house that was set on top of this old stone-lined basement was built in 1850 along the Cherokee Overland Trail. And so we're going to honor that with our local preservation. And then in July, we're going to do something special again, vintage baseball to 1870 rules. My goodness, they hadn't even invented mitts yet. And it's really fun, especially for the ladies to come out, because we are protesting that we don't have the right to vote, and the umpire has the audacity to bring out his gun and try to get us off the field. Can you believe that? Where have we come from? And so you have to come out and experience that. By the way, the date that's printed in the activities guide is incorrect. And we don't even know which park it's going to be at. It could be Wolf Run. That's where we have reserved the spot. But the problem is they're doing something with the sewer system there with great big pipes, and so it might not be appropriate. So we might do it at England Park. So stay tuned. Thank you again, every one of you, for your hard work for this city.
Gloria,
It's the first name, and I'm going to butcher the last name, so. And just for the record, ma'am, would you pronounce your last name, please?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Margarita Adame y vivo en Westminster por casi 5 años y soy miembro de UNE.
Good afternoon, my name is Margarita Adame and I've lived in Westminster for almost 5 years.
Y soy miembro de UNE
And I am a member of UNE
por más de 2 años.
for more than 2 years.
A mí me gusta apoyar a la comunidad.
I like to support the community.
UNE, estamos aquí para darles las gracias a todos ustedes
UNE is here to thank each and every one of you
por escucharnos y brindarnos su apoyo hasta este momento para la clínica legal.
for supporting us and giving us your attention and support up to this moment for the Legal Aid Clinic,
La cual estaríamos muy felices si esta se realizara con éxito.
for which we would be very happy to have if it happens with success.
Como todos ustedes saben, hay una necesidad muy grande de una representación legal.
As many of you know, we have a great need for legal representation.
Para los inquilinos de la ciudad de Westminster,
Representation for the renters here in the city of Westminster,
o mejor dicho, del condado de Adams,
or better said, in the county of
en
Adams,
general.
in general.
Bueno, señores concejales, esperamos seguir contando con su apoyo y seguir trabajando
Well, council members, we hope to continue to work with you and to continue to count on your support.
y seguir trabajando por todas las necesidades de la comunidad. Muchas gracias y que tengan una excelente noche y que nos sigan apoyando.
And to continue working together for all of the needs here in the city of Westminster and to continue supporting each other.
Y aquí les dejo unas copias de unas firmas que nos están apoyando unas personas para que ustedes.
And I'm going to leave a copy of a letter with signatures of people that are supporting us.
Gracias. Buenas
Thank you.
noches.
Have a good night.
Well, I got Margarita, but I still didn't get Gloria. Who signed up? There we go, okay. Good evening, ma'am.
Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Gloria y vivo en el área de Thornton por la 88 y Washington.
Good evening. My name is Gloria, and I live here in Westminster in Thornton. ¿En Thornton vive?
En Thornton por la 88 y Washington.
In Thornton by 88th and Washington.
Y pues gracias a Dios también soy miembro de UNE. Es la razón por qué estoy aquí, porque mis compañeros pues me han hecho esta cordial invitación para ser miembro de UNE y estoy muy feliz de serlo.
Thank God that I am here and I am a member of UNE, thanks to the other members who have welcomed me to be a part of as well.
Y estoy aquí para compartirles que yo vivo en un apartamento en la 88 y Washington y he pasado desafortunadamente experiencias muy desagradables.
And I am here to share that I live in an apartment on 88th in Washington and I've gone through very unpleasant experiences.
Que puedo decir 1,000,000 de gracias a Dios y a todos ustedes que me están escuchando que tengo la oportunidad de estar viva porque estuve en casi 11 meses respirando monóxido de carbono sin yo saber qué era lo que estaba pasando.
And I thank God that I have the opportunity to be here in front of you and everyone who is listening to be able to share this story because for 11 months I was breathing in carbon monoxide without even knowing it.
Teníamos que estar viviendo diariamente con las ventanas abiertas porque era lo que los miembros de la oficina de los apartamentos nos decían que teníamos que hacer.
We had to keep the windows open every day because that's what the apartment staff told us that we were supposed to do.
Y abríamos los abanicos para que el aire entrara o saliera y pues fue de la manera que pudimos sobrevivir.
And we would turn on our fans for the air to flow inward and outward, and that was the only way we were able to survive.
Hasta que llegó el día que se explotó el calentón y pues entramos al apartamento y estaba completamente lleno de de humo y muy desagradable y no sabíamos qué hacer.
Until the day came where the heater exploded and there was smoke all over the apartment and we didn't know what to do.
Y hablé en diferentes ocasiones a la oficina y tuve la dificultad porque nadie me contestaba, no sabía qué hacer realmente y volví a llamar.
And I called and called and called the office staff in several occasions and nobody answered. I didn't know what to do.
Y era tiempo de frío cuando eso pasó y por fin me contestó alguien y me contestó muy molesta, me dijo, esto no es una emergencia, te puedes esperar.
And finally someone answered, and this was during the winter time, and they answered very upset and they said, this isn't an emergency, you can wait.
Dice, tenemos otras emergencias que las personas están con las pipas congeladas porque es invierno. Dice, tú te puedes esperar y te podemos ayudar.
She said, we have other people whose water is frozen in the pipes, so that's even worse. So if they're going through that, you can wait.
Y pues para mí eso fue y ha sido muy frustrante, pero vuelvo a repetir, pues gracias a Dios aquí estoy y pues aún así seguimos con muchos mantenimientos de las pipas muy malas, todo muy desagradable.
And that was and continues to be something very unpleasant for me, and to this day we continue to struggle with maintenance issues and water pipe issues.
Yo soy una persona que sufro de diferentes consecuencias médicas por muchos años atrás y mi día empieza con un rato en la regadera y tenemos el desagradable ocasiones que empezamos el día y no tenemos agua, nada, solo gotas cayendo.
Due to medical reasons that I've experienced for many years, my day has to start off with a shower, and there are days where we just have drops of water coming out because we don't have access to that water.
Y es muy frustrante porque no sé qué hacer y eso puede pasar hasta 5 veces por semana y les hablo a la oficina y simplemente nos dicen, oh, es que estamos trabajando en el edificio de enseguida y eso se tiene que cerrar el agua. Le digo, cerrar el agua cinco veces por semana es una injusticia.
And it's very frustrating, and I constantly have to contact the office and I let them know what is going on, and then they say, oh, well, it's because we're working on the building next door and we have to shut down the water. And I say, 5 times a week though you have to turn off the water? That's not fair.
Y esto me pasa a mí, le pasa a muchas familias alrededor y ellos saben exactamente los problemas tan serios que hay por las pipas, pero ellos no hacen nada. Entonces esto es algo muy desagradable para nosotros y pues yo les pido a ustedes, a cada uno de ustedes con mi corazón en la mano, que por favor nos sigan escuchando y podamos tener muy pronto esa clínica legal para nosotros poder poco a poco ir acabando con esos problemas que nos arruinan nuestras vidas de diario vivir.
This is something that
your time, you go ahead and explain it, please, but then your time is up.
This is something that I and many other families have to go through, and it's very frustrating. We don't really know what to do, so we ask for your support in this legal aid clinic.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Muchas gracias, buena noche.
Thank you, have a good night.
Val Stone.
My name is Val Stone. I live at 3100 Craft Way, apartment 320. Let's talk about dignity. Sometimes through no fault of their own, job loss, sickness, or whatever, a renter is not able to pay their rent. They get a notice to go to court. Sometimes they are given a date, time, and court address of where to go. They can't afford an attorney and have no way to get to court. They can't afford an attorney, and have no way to get to court, therefore they get evicted. They have 3 days to vacate the premises. They can't afford rent, so they are unable to afford a vehicle to get their stuff. The police are there to supervise the eviction. The employees of the complex go into the apartment and throw the evicted person's possessions out, and not gently. The renter is not allowed back on the property, and therefore everyone in the complex is allowed to go through the evicted person's belongings. Their stuff gets broken, so this adds insult to injury. If they are lucky enough to find a new place to live, They have to buy new stuff to replace the broken or stolen items. It amazes me that no one gives regard to the dignity of their fellow man. They have suffered indignity of not being able to pay their rent, then are evicted, and their belongings are broken and stolen. I am happy to be here on behalf of UNE to help support the legal aid clinic. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Do you have anyone else that wishes to come forward and speak at this time that did not sign up? Okay, hang on just a second. I got one more in front of you.
You're going to get tired of looking at my face? Maybe. My name's Rich Chamberlain. I live at 8960 Nestus Street, which is in the Jeffco side of Westminster. I've been there for more than 30 years. And a couple of things I'd like to address. One, I'm very pleased to see this council thinking about unity in our community and inclusion. The purpose of religion, to me, is to bring people together, not to divide people. And I'm reminded of the story of how people are taking different paths up the mountain. You know, one path may be the Hindu path, another the Christian path, the Jewish path, the Muslim path, the Baha'i path, and they're all converging on the same point, except for the guy that's running around the mountain telling everybody they're on the wrong path. So I really appreciate what this council is doing and the direction you're going in. What I'd really like to address is what my UNE friends have been addressing. It's a real issue of an imbalance of power. And I'm hoping that some of your concerns about Jefferson County also helping out with the legal aid clinic, I hope that bears fruit. And I'm sure Mr. Frankel is working on that. I do hope that bears fruit. But even if it doesn't, as a resident of the Jeffco side of Westminster, I really hope you establish this clinic anyway, because there's a severe need to at least begin to level the playing field. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, City Councillors, and birthday girl. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Good evening. My name is Chris Stimpson. I live in the Cotton Creek area of Westminster. My apologies for not putting my name on your list. I had not caught the fact that you're working on mountain time, less half an hour these days. Recently, the U.S. Justice Department made a request to the Census Bureau that a citizenship question be added to the 2020 census of this country. The U.S. Conference of Mayors on February 6th wrote to Wilbur Ross, Secretary of Commerce, requesting, amongst other things, for them to not include the citizenship question on the 2020 census. This letter to Wilbur Ross was signed by 161 mayors in this country, including, by the way, the mayor of our neighboring community, Wheat Ridge. Also, there were 19 attorney generals in this country, not including the Attorney General of Colorado, which may not surprise you, who regarded this change as unconstitutional, has not been done for 70 years, come 2020, and have brought a lawsuit on the grounds that this will harm cities, especially those with large immigrant populations. Westminster has over 22% Hispanic or Latino population and about 5% Asian population. Now, I do not, of course, equate ethnicity with citizenship. Nevertheless, those are figures that relate to Westminster. And tonight I call on Mayor Atchison to in the name of the City of Westminster, to add his name to those 161 mayors who are opposing the citizenship question on the 2020 census. Thank you.
Any other comments from anyone in the audience? Yes, ma'am. Come on down, please.
Hello, my name is Karen Calavity. I've spoken here before. And I've spoken upon this issue of our wildlife. I'm seeing some of the sites that had been forsaken after the recession now coming into being built. And some of those sites are also where prairie dogs and the wildlife have settled in. And I would just ask that specifically on 97th and Federal looks to be a site that is going to be brought into development again. And I'm seeing some utility markings. I would ask that Westminster do what it can to relocate those prairie dogs. Prairie dogs are a native animal. We've lost a lot of them, and our city should be responsive to keeping as much wildlife intact as possible and making efforts to relocate those animals that will need a home probably after that construction likely is going to happen.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, last call. Anyone else who have any issues they'd like to bring to council at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is a list of items that are typically of normal business for the city. Typically, we'd handle this with a single motion. At this point, Ms. Scully, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the City Council adopt the consent agenda items 8A through 8E.
Is there a second to the motion? Ms. Sykes?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I did not have any indication from the council members that anyone had wished to have any item removed from the agenda, so I believe the agenda will stay intact as represented in the motion on items 8A through 8E. This will be a button vote, if you would, please. Go ahead. Should be up. Yeah. Finish this one. I'll go back. Okay. Go ahead. All right. The motion carries on a 6-0. Let me go back. Excuse me. Case up with the report of the city officials. Mr. Tripp.
Mayor, I'll defer my comments to council tonight.
Okay. Any updates from council? Ms. Scully?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two things that I'd like to comment on tonight. The first one is I would encourage our city residents and our employees and everyone who resides in our city to wear white t-shirts on Friday for recognition of Day Without Hate. That was started right here in our very city of Westminster at Stanley Lake High School. They'll be celebrating in Jeffco and around in our surrounding public education institutions, and I will be wearing white. Please take a picture of yourself, post it. Let's bring recognition to this great day that recognizes the importance of no bullying, having safety in schools, and respecting each other. Oh, and then my second comment was, this is to the Community Pride group. I just wanted to comment. I've had a young German living with me for the last couple of weeks, and her biggest comment about her stay in Westminster was, it's so clean. It's so pretty. And I was taken aback because I just take it for granted. I live here. Of course it's clean and beautiful and the water tastes good. And she drank from our tap, not from bottled water, which was interesting because I have bottled water tonight. But she drank from the tap. And so I have started drinking from my tap as well because she was just amazed at how great it tasted. So just, wow, way to go, Westminster. I'm really impressed.
Ms. Sykes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it would be absolutely wrong and remiss of me not to recognize that tonight is the birthday of City Councilor Shannon Bird. a woman that I am very fortunate to serve with. She is an inspiration and never ceases to impress me. So we are very fortunate to have her leadership. The next thing I wanted to mention is just thank you to everyone who came out tonight to express their viewpoints, their concerns with the city. Gloria, I apologize, I did not catch your last name. Your story is very scary to me. Carbon monoxide is dangerous. The level of disregard is shocking to me. I actually was writing notes to my city attorney trying to figure out immediately how to help you. I would direct you to Thornton Code Compliance in the near term, but thank you for sharing that story and helping us understand really how vulnerable people are in the conditions. So thank you to everyone who came out, but that was scary and moving. I wanted to say on Tuesday we did have a community summit here in Westminster. I was fortunate to sit at the water table with some of our water resource professionals, and citizens came and spoke and asked their questions. And my favorite question that I was asked is, why does Westminster water taste so good? So really, it is a source of community pride. And Catherine, you should not be drinking bottled water. It is great from the tap. And we get 50 cups of water for every penny. So it's a bargain at that. So just wanted to recognize that. And then lastly, I do want to acknowledge the speaker's comments in regards to the request for Day of Prayer. I'm very comfortable. I don't see how expanding an invitation tramples anybody's rights. For me, I do believe it was me that he was referencing that brought up the Establishment Clause. And I agree with Mr. Newis that freedom of religion is not freedom from religion. But at the same time, we are not supposed to endorse a specific religion. And I think it's incumbent upon us as government to protect the rights of the minority and also to make sure that everyone feels protected and invited. So I was very happy. I also am willing to stand by decisions I make, but I don't like being misquoted. I did not compare spirituality to the reflection of Pearl Harbor, and in fact, we received a staff report asking us to make it a day of reflection, and I said I would like it to include prayer and meditation because to me, reflection is more for an event that has happened and doesn't have that same connection to spirituality. So that was a misquote. But I'm proud of our city's efforts to be inclusive and always taking that extra effort to make sure everybody knows that this city government works for them. I myself am a practicing Christian. I don't believe it's appropriate for me as a city councilor to endorse just one religion in my function as a city councilor. And a proclamation is just that. So thank you.
Mr. DeMont.
First off, thank you everybody who came tonight and spoke and just participated in the process. I, for one, feel very blessed to live in the nation that we live in. Really won the lottery by being born here. National Day of Prayer is May 3rd, a day recognized from the President in the White House to the Governor in the State House. We are blessed to live in a nation where our natural rights are protected by our Constitution. The First Amendment is here to protect our right to believe how we see fit, not to dictate how or where or what to believe. It is to protect our free speech, even words that some don't agree with or like. With that, I would like to share a few of the National Day of Prayer events that are here in the city that are put on by the Westminster Cares Group, which is a faith-based organization of a bunch of different community churches that come together and celebrate the National Day of Prayer. The first, which I will participate in, is on May 3rd at 6:30 a.m. at the Crossings Church on 104th and King. There we'll have some food and refreshments there. And then that evening at Covenant Village off 92nd at Wadsworth at 6 p.m., there will be another event, and all are welcome to come and participate in those. The last event that I would like to share with the community is Seafire Sonic Night is May 4th. So that goes from 5 to 8. And 10% of all the proceeds from the food that you buy will go to our Seafire group that helps support our fire department.
Ms. Bird.
So thanks everybody for being here tonight. one of the first things I wanted to say is to thank Ms. Graybill for your continuous, wonderful contribution to our city. It's such a delight to have you come and address this council. You educate us, you are welcoming, you are warm, you are lovely, and I'm so impressed by all of the work that you lead through the Westminster Historical Society. I cannot wait to come and visit you at the castle. I will be bringing my 2 children, and with my camera in tow, I can't wait to see all the flowers. So thank you, not just for tonight, but really for everything that you do. You are a treasure to this city, and I appreciate you greatly. Additionally, I wanted to thank the group that is here tonight to come and talk about some of the challenges that our citizens are having with renting rights. Thank you for your work to keep bringing these stories before council. I hope you're sharing this throughout the wider metro area. I know this isn't an issue that we're just having here locally. And of course, this council, we can do what we can do here, but this needs a broader based solution. And if you are out spreading the word, you are doing a huge service to so many other citizens. So thank you for the courage that you have to come and bring these stories to our city and to press and make sure that the city is moving for good, for better, for all of us. And also, I wanted to echo Councillor Seitz' comments, not about my birthday, but actually about the proclamation that we issued tonight. I think that we do nobody any disservice by being of bigger heart and bigger spirit, and by being kinder and wanting to widen that tent to more. I commit to my citizens, for as long as I represent you, I'll be doing everything to make sure that your government stands for you and is working to protect you and make sure that you are included in our efforts. So I've come to mind this concept of a sum game. When we recognize one and we decide to recognize another, it doesn't take away from the fact that we recognize the first just as much as we did before. In fact, I had this written down. We take no recognition or respect away from one group by affirming our recognition and respect for other groups as well. So I mean that with all sincerity, and I'm also going to be participating in the National Day of Prayer. I have the honor of being able to lead the prayer for our educators, and I think it's a wonderful event. But I think it's made even better by making sure that more people know that this is for them too. Prayer and meditation and reflection are wonderful things. They're wonderful because they bring us closer to our Maker, and maybe bring us closer to one another as well. And that can never be a bad thing when we try to engage more people in that kind of activity. So anyway, with all of that said, I'm stand by the proclamation that we passed tonight. I'm thrilled you're all here. Thank you for all of your time and for your contributions to our city.
Any other comments from council? Okay, I'm going to wrap up with one quick one. Chief, you are spearheading an event on Saturday, and this is the drug take back that we have coming up on the 28th. So one of the biggest epidemics we have in the United States today is opioids, and that's not necessarily coming out of a black market, but a lot of that is coming from people's homes, that people are picking up extra medication that was left laying around. This is the one time a year that the police department, in conjunction with the CDPHE and health departments around, collect up all these unused needles, medications, pills, whatever you've got that is sitting around that may have expired. One of the big things we ask you not to do, please, do not put it in the water system. Don't flush it down the toilet. Right across the street at the Public Safety Center, they will pick it all up. In the last few years that we've had this, we have had hundreds of pounds of unused medication brought in that we've been able to dispose of properly. So if you have any at home, drop by on Saturday. The opportunity will be there for you to turn it in, whatever you have. If there's any problem with an aerosol, please make sure the aerosol can is empty before you turn it in. We'll still take the can, but because we don't know what's in it, it has to be empty. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate you trying to make sure that we're safe and not polluting our water. Next item on the agenda is appointments and resignations. We have none tonight. The first item of business will be the 2018 Rec Facilities Fitness Equipment Purchase. We have a motion from a member of council, Ms. Scully.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move, based on the recommendation of the city manager, to find that the public interest would be best served by accepting the bid for the purchase and maintenance of fitness equipment for City Park Fitness Center, Westview Recreation Center, and the Swim and Fitness Center from Advanced Exercise. To award the bid to Advanced Exercise and to authorize the expenditure in an amount not to exceed $135,000.
Ms. Byrd?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? Seeing none, this will be a vote with your lights, please. And the motion carries on a 6-0 vote. The next item on the agenda is the consulting services contract for the comprehensive plan update. And as soon as I get back to there, Ms. Byrd.
I move to authorize the city manager to transfer $211,731 from the Federal Boulevard Burlington Northern Santa Fe Bridge Replacement Project in the General Capital Improvement Fund to the Comprehensive Plan Amendment Project in the General Capital Improvement Fund.
Ms. Seitz.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on item B1? Hearing none. Excuse me. This is also, I'm sorry, I didn't see your light come up. Go ahead, Ms. Burke.
I just wanted to give kudos to staff for managing the project for the Federal Boulevard Burlington Northern Santa Fe Bridge Replacement Project in such a great fashion that you saved tremendous amounts of money, thereby enabling us to invest in other great work. So thank you. That's awesome work, and I just didn't want that to go without note.
Any other comments? Okay. This is a vote with your lights. And the motion also carries on a 6-0 vote. Ms. Byrd, B2, please.
I move to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Logan Simpson in the amount of $116,770 for consultant services to facilitate and prepare updates to the comprehensive plan and authorize a contingency in the amount of $13,955 for a total authorized expenditure with this firm not to exceed $130,725.
Ms. Scully.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on item B2?
Yes.
Ms. Byrd, go ahead.
So I did forget. I was wondering if staff could talk a little bit more about economic development's role that we foresee in this upcoming planning process.
Absolutely. That economic development, as well as our counterparts in other departments, is going to be very important. I think when we first began just conceptualizing this process, we were doing the study sessions last year with City Council about the comprehensive plan, and John Hall had one of the sessions, and there were some comments made that perhaps in the past there was not as good threading between the departments. So we took note of that, and we began having monthly meetings with economic development, community development, and public works. And we're kind of deciding what's the approach going to be, what's the timing going to be. And so that was definitely part of the thought process coming together. A lot of good work has already been done, like with the affordable housing strategic plan. We have the industry-based analysis. And I also think working with economic development will be important in terms of outreach, working with them to reach the chamber and other important stakeholders. And we'll be forming a task force that we see that department as well as a lot of other people participating in.
Thank you for that. I'm thrilled by that, the task force and the ongoing dialogue. I just want to make part of that I think it's critically important to make sure that the way that we plan for our city in the next 10 to 20 years, how we build that out, how it evolves, supports the economy that we want. So to me, it's critically important that economic development is an integral part of that process. So we make sure that housing and jobs and economic sustainability is all factored into what we do. So thank you.
Any other comments? Just for the record, the person who answered the question from Ms. Byrd is Andrew Spurgeon from the city's Community Development Department. Okay, if we could move ahead with a vote for your lights, please. And that motion also carries on a 6-0 vote. Ms. Byrd, I think you have one left, B3.
I move to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with White and Smith LLC in the amount of $323,641 for consultant services to facilitate and prepare updates to the Westminster Municipal Code and the design standards, and authorize a contingency in the amount of $32,365 for a total authorized expenditure with this firm not to exceed $356,006.
Ms. Seitz?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? Seeing none, this is also a vote with your lights. And again, the motion carries on a 6-0 vote. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the actions of the City Council for tonight. We will take about a 10-minute break, give everybody a chance to take a short pause, and then we will reconvene as the Westminster Housing Authority in executive session. Good.